We're continuing to seek the public's assistance to locate a missing man. Justin Mckinnon-Blomme, also known as Justin Rhodes, 21 of Calgary, was last seen on Wednesday, September 24th, 2014. We've determined that he attended a house party that afternoon and that evening. He left the party at approximately 8:15 p.m. to go to a nearby liquor store before returning to the party. It's alleged that he was assaulted at the party by a 20-year-old man. That man has been charged in relation to that incident, and this is not believed to be directly related to his disappearance. He left the party with friends a short time later. His friends last saw him at approximately 10:30 p.m. where he left the vehicle that they were in at the intersection of Acadia Drive and Southland Drive Southeast. He's described as a Caucasian male, approximately 5'8", 5 foot 8 inches tall, 140 pounds. He's slim build. He was wearing a black jacket and dark jeans when he was last seen. We're releasing some recent photos taken from the liquor store in Acadia that he was at early in the evening in order to show what he was wearing that night. We'll have that photo posted on the City of Calgary newsroom. Anyone with information to the whereabouts of Mckinnon is asked to call police at 403-266-1234, or they can use the Crime Stoppers tips line to do that anonymously. I'd like to introduce the family, if I could, to come up and say a few words to you guys. And once again, if you can hold your questions until after, we would appreciate it. And we will be available for any of the investigative questions. So if I can get Carlene and Paul Thibault to come up.
On September 24th, 2014, our son Justin got out of a friend's car, headed down a walkway, Southland Drive and Acadia Drive Southeast, and then just disappeared. We have not seen or heard from him since. Each day he's gone missing seems to have become the worst day of our lives. We have a very large and loving family with aunts and uncles, his dad, his brothers, his grandparents, his cousins, who all feel very incomplete without him and are aching for him to come home. He is the last person we think of before we go to bed at night, and the first thing we think of when we wake up in the morning. Unfortunately, as of right now, we have no clue what has happened to him or where he is. With the help of many families and friends and even strangers, we've been searching for Justin tirelessly over the past 4 weeks, posting flyers and lawn signs all over the city in hopes that his face gets out there, so maybe somebody will see him. Justin's younger brother Josh has set up a Facebook page, help bring Justin home. It's a public Facebook page. And thanks to the power of social media and again, friends, family, and perfect strangers, his face has been posted all over the country on Facebook pages. Strangers like the staff at Woody's Tap House have organized a fundraiser to help raise awareness that he's missing and to help raise funds so we can expand our search by whatever means necessary. We have regular everyday Calgarians, Calgary business owners, and even Canadians across the country have taken the time out to print out posters and flyers, post them at their offices, hand them out to people on transit and everywhere they go through their travels. Words can't express how grateful we are for the overwhelming prayers and support we've received from everyone. Justin, if you are watching this, we just want you to come home. Or call me, or call somebody, call the police just to let them know you are safe. No matter what you are doing or where you are, we want you to know that you are so loved. And we miss you so much more and more every day that you're gone. There's not a minute of the day that we don't think about you, worry about you, crave to hear your voice or to see your smiling face. We're just not a complete family without you. Wherever you are, we want you to know that you are not in any kind of trouble and no one is angry, upset in any way. We're just all extremely worried. And all of this, the police and the media and everything, is all because we love you so much and just want you home. And if you're out there somewhere, whatever is going on, please, please know that we will always love you. We will always do anything in the world to help you and to support you. We just need to know that you're safe. We want you to know that we will never stop worrying about you, we will never stop looking for you, and we will never, ever stop loving you. Please just contact someone or come home. For everyone else watching out there, we are begging you that if you know any information about where our son might be, even if it just seems like a small bit of information, it might be that little bit of information we need to find our son and bring this nightmare to an end. Thanks again for all your support.
Do you have questions of the family?
Can we just talk a little bit about Justin? I know we've kind of talked about him before, but what kind of person is he?
Justin is a very loving, very kind, very big-hearted type of guy. He will help anybody and everybody. And the more I have friends that I find that are coming to help out, and the more friends that I meet, the more I realized how positively he actually touched everybody's lives. How loving and friendly and kind he was. His nieces and his cousins love him to bits. He was studying to be an EMR. One of his goals is to become a paramedic so that he can go out and help save lives. Besides his arbor care, or his arborist job, which he loves tremendously, that was his other goal. He just wants to help people. He's just such a great kid with such an awesome soul.
He was one of the first people to actually be out there helping with the flood. Him and our other son, Josh, within an hour, were already out there helping people, going to the shelters, helping, cleaning out people, total strangers. And he was helping, and he was wanting to help badly. And that's a lot of his character right there.
Can you just describe, I guess, the kind of strain that this is putting on you guys right now, and what the family home is like at this point?
Well, as you can probably imagine, it's the worst time of our lives, and we go through good days and we go through bad days. We are very lucky to have a very large, loving, and supportive family, so we work together to kind of support each other and be there for each other whenever we need each other. And we've had a great network of people, of strangers, and of friends who have just been there as a help and support. I mean, at home right now, it's quiet. It's like I said, we think about this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's not a minute that goes by. We don't sit and watch a show and forget about it. It's on our minds every minute of every day.
And our home has been converted to a missing person headquarters. There's posters, there's maps, there's all the clues that we've looked. We've basically tried to make it as efficient as we can and as detailed as we can. The problem is there has been nothing. There hasn't been a single confirmed sighting of him since he went missing. And that's the hardest thing. We don't know if he's still alive or he's hiding. It's just nothing. Literally, he vanished. And that's making it so hard because we don't even know what to think yet. So we're still in denial, still in shock. We're still trying to deal with him being missing. We haven't been able to go to the point where something has happened. So that's why it's such a stressful time, because there's just not enough information.
Did he ever talk to you or say anything to anybody about having any really serious enemies, or has anybody come forward to you to tell you about anything along those lines since?
No, I mean, like any kids, they have people who they don't get along with and people that they do, but none that have really been extremely hateful, and none that we know of. Like, you know, like I said, everybody has people they don't get along with, but we don't know of anybody who really hated him that much that they would cause any harm to him.
There's no open feud with anybody, and there was no open individual private session where he was having problems with one person or anybody. He was a fun guy. He partied. He enjoyed meeting people. Occasionally there would be a confrontation, but it's not abnormal and not different than any other young man growing up. And there was definitely nothing that we saw that he had a problem with one individual or an individual had a problem with him.
So obviously you along with police, you picked his friend's brains about this thing.
Over and over. And his friends are constantly trying to keep in contact and constantly trying to update with whatever they can. And I mean, like I said, we're blessed to have the friends that he has, and they've been really open and honest with us pretty much about everything that they know.
And they've said it too, that there is no one person that had a vendetta or a revenge against him. No one motivated enough to want to do something with planned thought. There was nobody premeditated or anything according to what they know and what they know of the friends.
Why does Justin sometimes go by the last name of Rhodes?
Well, Rhodes is actually the name he grew up with. So Mckinnon-Blomme is actually his birth name, the birth on his name on the certificate. But Rhodes was my maiden name, and that's what I grew up with, and so that's kind of what both my kids grew up with. So legally on paperwork and everything, it's Mckinnon-Blomme, but Rhodes is what he.
And he also
goes.
took the Rhodes name because he wanted to honor his grandfather and keep that name as well, and to basically show his love and support for his grandfather.
What did he like to do in his spare time? Obviously, you said he's very dedicated to his job, but what else does Justin do?
I mean, in his spare time, he enjoyed, besides hanging out with friends and stuff, he enjoyed camping, and he enjoyed reading. He was reading educational books, how things work, how the mind works. He watches the Discovery Channel and History Channel and anything that can give him knowledge. He was always on a quest for knowledge. So, besides hanging out with his friends and stuff, if he wasn't doing that, he was at home reading a book or researching something just for the quest for knowledge.
Yeah. And he enjoyed going to concerts and stuff. Pretty much
Just
what
like
an
your
average
average
21-year-old boy would do. He'd like to go out with friends. He didn't really like to go to nightclubs. He was much more of a pub bar where he could socialize and talk more. So he wasn't a big nightclub guy, but he was much more pubs, smaller venues where he could talk and drink and have fun with his friends.
And he's an outdoorsy guy, so that's why he loved his job so much. His job up in that mostly took him up in northern Alberta it's quiet and peaceful up there. When he was in the city, he enjoyed being around his friends, but really enjoyed the break to go up where it's peaceful and quiet and nature. And like I said, they instead of going to hotels, they would actually just camp out in a tent where they were working, because he just enjoyed that. So that's kind of what he was doing.
Great, thank you. We'll have staff sergeant Baker come now to answer any investigative questions.
Go ahead.
All right, so what has been done? I understand the family had been out organizing searches. What have you guys been doing in order to try and find him?
Basically, it started quite early on. Obviously, I could refer to the primary investigator who's here this evening, but we've had several teams of detectives interviewing people right from the beginning. We've collected hundreds and hundreds of hours of surveillance video. We've organized 4 formal searches utilizing our search teams from the Calgary Police Service, looking various areas around the city where we'd had tips and information that might lead to his location. We've run down hundreds of tips already with possible sightings after he disappeared. None of those have been confirmed sightings. We haven't been able to find anything to confirm that at all.
Okay, I understand we had, spoken about this before and had said that, at that point they weren't looking at a chance of foul play in the situation. Has that changed at all for you guys?
No, we have no indication that there's any foul play whatsoever. We basically have spoken to everybody that was with him that evening, that was at that party, and who had seen him that day. We've run down every lead we can from there as well. No indications at this time of any type of foul play. We're not ruling that out, but certainly we don't have anything that's pointing us in that direction.
Can you give us details about the assault that happened earlier at the house party?
Certainly. Small group of friends got together. Didn't appear to be a targeted attack, really. It just seemed to be a fight that kind of broke out. Justin was not the instigator in that fight whatsoever. He was merely a victim of it. As a result, we've charged one individual with common assault in relation to that.
Okay, and in your investigation, you haven't been able, obviously, to find anyone with a vendetta against him, just as his family is saying, anyone that you were zeroing in on or focusing on?
No. From all appearances, everything we've been able to find, Justin seemed to be a very interesting young man. Had a job that from his coworkers that he absolutely loved to go to. His disappearance is out of character for him, and we're quite concerned because, as Paul mentioned, he basically disappeared at 10:30, and we haven't heard from him since. And really, that's what we're here for, is we really do want to find him and get him back with his family.
Do you really think that he could be hiding out somewhere, worried about coming forward because of all the attention that this has received, or is that...
We would be really, really hopeful that that's the case. We would love for him to see this and realize that his family is really, really worried about him, and they would like him back. That's our primary focus. We're hopeful that he will be found that way, is that he's out there and he just disappeared and wanted to. be off the radar for a while. So we're hoping that he is going to come back. And we hope this is what brings him back.
Have you guys been looking, I guess, how far outside the city? What is the scope now when you guys are searching around?
The areas that we focused on were targeted in relation to where he was last seen. We focused on those areas in particular, just in the hopes that maybe he'd gone missing there, and we targeted the searches there. All of those were to no avail.
And any thoughts of going outside the province or issuing other sorts of things?
We have no reason to believe that he's left the province. There's no video, there's no evidence to support it, whether it's getting money, cash, plane tickets, none of that to indicate that he's left the province. So it's pretty hard to focus across the entire country into the United States to go looking for him when we don't really have a starting point to go to. As Paul said, basically at 10:30 he disappeared and we haven't heard from him since.
And obviously, I guess, no activity on his debit cards or anything like that?
Nothing.
Are you confident that you'll find Justin alive?
We hope. We're very hopeful that we will. Certainly people have been missing for longer than this and we've found them before. Our hope is that he's out there somewhere and that he sees this and he comes forward. He's not in any trouble with us, and certainly his family would love to have him back. That's our hope, is that he comes back. So we do remain confident and hopeful that he does return.
Is there any indication that, like, from the assault that happened earlier, he could have been hurt in some way or something and be suffering a head injury or anything like that?
The assault occurred earlier in the evening and he seemed fairly well still put together. He was speaking with his friends and he was riding in a car with his friends and speaking to his friends. We certainly can't rule that out because we didn't see him that evening. But he was talking with his friends and communicating with them all evening after the assault and got into the vehicle with them and rode away from the house afterwards. So we don't believe that he was injured in such a way as that it would cause him not to be located.
And at that time he did indicate that he was going home then, right? Was that, or he was going to walk home? Or was
I'm not 100% sure where he said he was going at that point. I do know that he got out of the car voluntarily and walked away from the vehicle at that intersection that I gave earlier, which I believe is Southland and Acadia. He walked away from there, and that's the last his friend saw of him.
And he was okay at that point? Like, he seemed...
Yes.
Okay. Had he been consuming alcohol that night?
Yes, he'd been to the liquor store earlier in the evening, and I believe everybody at the party was consuming alcohol. We don't have anything to say that he was so intoxicated that he certainly couldn't look after himself. He seemed to be able to text, and he was sending messages back and forth to his friends, and he was speaking to them, so he wasn't so intoxicated that he wasn't functional.
So that's not really a concern that he could have gotten into some trouble because he'd been drinking or something, and any indication that that could have played a role?
No, we don't have anything to say that. Like I said, the fight was earlier in the evening with this other individual who's been charged in relation to that. He was definitely the victim in that assault. He walked away from the house after the assault, went with his friends, so nothing to say that anything bad happened to him there.